Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, all that good stuff. This is PMP from the Part of My Presence YouTube channel. I'm going to get right into it and discuss the drama series When They See Us. Okay, and it's on Netflix, directed by Ava DuVernay. It's good to see it and brought to life the way it was. It also humanizes these kids, and it tells a story from, I guess, their perspective. I know there's a previous documentary by Sarah Burns, and that was really great and informative, but it didn't really delve deep into who they were as people, okay? And it really was a great documentary, a great drama series, and it really brought things to life, into perspective, and from what I understand, it was pretty accurate, okay? And having said that, I have to say there's three things that really stuck out for me, okay? The first thing that stuck out to me is that single-parent households, okay? A lot of people talk about, the lack of a father in someone's life, lack of discipline, not having a father figure to bring some balance to the household, to provide guidance. All that stuff is cool and everything, but the one thing that people really don't talk about as far as what a father brings to the table is a second source of income. If you noticed, all but one of the kids came from a single parent household, and if you notice, these parents didn't know where these parents didn't know where the kids were. 18 hours at the police station, you're showing up, at the 15th hour, the 16th hour, the morning after. Like, you don't know your child's not home. You don't know where your kids are. You know what I mean? And the thing is, the reason why that shit happens is it's sad, but the reason why is because when you come from a single income household, one person, the parent, the mother, or the father, is responsible for all the bills. Okay, and when you come from that type of neighborhood, a lot of times the jobs that you have aren't well-paying jobs. Okay, to the point where you can't rely on just working a 9 to 5 and you have all your bills paid. No, you got to do double shifts, triple shifts. You got to have a second job, a third job. You gotta get money from this person, that person. It's really tough. And if you notice, a lot of them, they would work from 7 to 4, then 5 to 9, and maybe do an overnight. And then they come home and they expect their kids to be in their bed sleeping. They rely on family members, extended family, people that aren't family but you call family. One from 5B across the hall. Get him to check up on your son to make sure he came home and to make sure that there's food on the table for his dinner. Come on. In that situation, the window for error or the opportunity for a child who's a teen to get into mischief, into trouble, it's high as a motherfucker, if you ask me. And one thing you'll know about teens. One thing you know about teens is when you get an empty house like that, you're not going to stay in the house. You're going to go out, get yourself into trouble, fool around, hang out on the block, get involved in the wrong people, okay? Or the other part of it is that if you have an empty house, you're going to be bringing people over. Your house becomes the kick-it spot, You're drinking, you're smoking, gambling, playing dominoes, you're bringing girls over. And let's be honest, when I look back at my childhood, I came from a family of two parents. I couldn't bring girls over, and the guys who were getting laid first were the ones who came from a single family household, because guess what was happening after school? Their parents wasn't home. They have like a 3-4 hour window, from 3 o'clock when school finishes to the time that they get home, where they could bring all kind of girls over, and no one's none the wiser. Okay, so these are the things that can happen when you're coming from a single family household. It's very tough, and people who are wondering why their parents didn't know what was going on, why some of the especially the Spanish guy, he couldn't stay. He put his grandmother, who didn't even know much English, there to protect them. It's hard when you come from these jobs who don't pay much, who you could be easily replaced because it's not skilled work. That shit's hard. Okay. The next thing I want to discuss, okay, is the father of Tron. I don't know what's that's about. I hope that part was an embellishment, because if that's how it happened, where the officer made him buckle and fold out of fear of the guy's boss, the father's boss, realizing that he is a convicted felon, he could lose his job, and for that threat you turn on your son and make your son the sacrificial lamb. That, to me, that makes no sense. Okay, to me that's weak. I'm sorry to say. And as a father or as a parent, you gotta eat that. Okay, if the officer wants to threaten you that you may lose your job over something that you did in your past, you gotta eat that. You gotta say, you know what? Pull their card. Do it. Call my employer. Call my boss. Let them know. Because you know what I'm going to do? After I'm done talking with them, I'm going to call my own boss and tell him straight up, look, cops are trying to hem me up. This is a situation. I needed a job. This is why I started an application. But you know me. I've been here busting my ass for 5 years. And, I've never steered you wrong. I've never done anything wrong in regards to my work. I'm a stand-up guy, a good employee. It's just letting you know. And get that shit out of the way. But I'm not going to put my son on the bus and make him become the sacrificial lamb so that I could keep my job, some shitty job where I could get another one, another day. But my son can't get another life. My son can't redo those, 8, 9, 10 years that he ended up doing, or 5 years, whatever the amount of years. It's not worth that. How you look at your son knowing at 14, 15, 16 years old that you put him under the bus just to save your shitty job? So that don't fly with me. As a parent, you protect your son. That's your responsibility. Before you even have kids, you should already be in a financial situation where you have a steady income, and you don't have to worry about that bullshit. Get your shit in order before you have kids. All right. So my raw reflection for This Is Us is that as a parent, it is your duty to protect your child. That means get acquainted with knowing how to protect your child from pitfalls, whether it's pitfalls in the legal system, whether it's pitfalls in school, in education system, pitfalls in their career, in any path or walks of life they decide to take. It is your job to educate your children and also educate yourself so that when your children come to you, you have the knowledge and the wherewithal and the research and the data to provide to them, so that way your child, who will one day become a teenager and will one day become a man, will be able to take this information, this rounded source of information, and make informed decisions and choices. That's your job as a parent, okay? If you're going to have a child in this world, make sure that you're making a good enough living to be able to provide for your children, to provide the financial resources that your child is going to need if anything were to happen. And also make sure that you build enough wealth so that you have emergency money. Whether that emergency money is for a car breaking down, for something catching on fire, having to replace certain things, or for legal purposes, to get a lawyer, okay, to be able to buy a plane ticket and leave the country, to be able to pay for a funeral. These are things that as a parent, it is your job to make sure that you're able to provide for your child. I don't care if you come from a 2-parent household or a 1. It is still your responsibility, okay? The second thing as well, parents, don't let your child become sacrificial lambs just to make sure that you stay on, okay? You need to be selfless as a parent. You need to make sure that you're putting your child's well-being first, because believe it or not, when you're dead and gone, your child will still be here on this earth. You better make sure that you do everything in your power to to make sure that they have the right head on their shoulders and that they have a fighting chance in this world. Because I'm not sure if you realize, but as things progress, in this world, it might seem easier to you, but it actually is harder for these kids growing up. And it's harder not in the sense that they have to walk thousands of miles to school, but it's harder in the sense that there's nothing to strive for. There's a lot more idle time because technology has afforded us idle time, and they're not inspired to do much anymore because everything's already done for them. Okay, so it's very important that you make sure that you protect your child's future and do not make them the sacrificial lambs for you. You should have already worked out your kinks, your issues before you have children, and to put your issues onto them. Okay, the last thing that I get from this, okay, is as a parent, learn the law. That's all I could say. Learn the law. Okay, learn the law. That's closer to like the first point, but there's no other way to say it. Learn the law. Learn the law. Learn the law. Learn the law, and teach your child the law. Teach your child what rights they have, how to respect authority, how to question authority, how to be savvy to think on their feet, how to let them know that you can say no and still be respectful. Okay, a lot of times people don't realize that, and that's probably the greatest power you can have as a human being, to be able to say, no thank you, not today. I remember, I'll be the cash register, and I would dread when the cashier used to ask me, would you like to donate to the Sick Kids Fund, or breast cancer, or Children Dying Every Day Fund? And I didn't know how to answer it, because if I just said hell no, or if I said I don't have the money, I'd feel like I'm a bad guy. But then this happened to me once when I was actually in line, and the person ahead of me, I heard them say, not today. Okay, because I remember I one time donated, okay, and because these campaigns are like for months, I donated on Monday. I went back to the store. This is, I think, it was Walmart. I went back to the store on Friday. They asked me again. Now, I sound like a real jackass by saying I already donated. The fuck, you can't donate another $1, motherfucker? You know what I mean? So I didn't want to say I already donated. But the person ahead of me, when they asked them, they replied, not today. That doesn't mean no. That doesn't mean I never have before. That just means today I won't. And now every time when they ask me that question, what do I say? Not today. Okay, so that's still a no, but it's a respectful no. A no that the cashier won't feel bad hearing. A no that someone who hears it, although they know it's a rejection, they won't feel stank about it. If it's a guy asking for your number, you say not today, they will want to slice you up. Okay, so or beat you up or whatever, or cuss you out. So again, very important to teach your children how to be firm, how to think on their feet, how to be respectful, but still stand their ground. Okay, so that's my raw reflection on how they see us, or this is us, how they see us is what the documentary or the miniseries is. I implore you guys to also watch the documentary, The Chisel Park 5 by Sarah Burns. That's also a great documentary. It's a sad story. I'm glad that they've all been able to kind of move forward with their lives and be successful men and productive men. And I wish them nothing but best success. Let me know what you think. Like, dislike, agree, disagree, comment. It's all good. Pardon my presence. I'll be back for another one another day. Peace. Blessings.